San Diego has hosted America's Cup 4 times since 1988, the last in November 2011. Now we're in the running again, vying with San Francisco, Hawaii, and others to host the 34th America's Cup regatta. But is it profitable, and would it really benefit San Diego? Here to help answer those questions is my guest, San Diego Port Commission Chairman Bob Nelson. Welcome.
Thank you, Peggy.
Now, for those who aren't familiar with America's Cup, what is it?
Well, I call it NASCAR on the water. It is a racing sailing event. It's the oldest continuously performed international race in the world. First race was in 1851 with two boats, one from America and one from New York, or pardon me, from London. And the winner was a boat called the America. So the first name on the trophy is America, and it became the America's Cup.
Why do you think it should be held here in San Diego?
Well, first of all, it's the best place they could possibly select for the way they're now racing, which is in what they call arena-style racing, where they're looking for venues just like San Diego, where a lot of people can watch from the shoreline and see these boats slamming past each other at speeds of up to 40 or 50 miles an hour, which is something that's never happened before in the history of racing.
And it is actually pretty dangerous and pretty strenuous. Let's talk a little bit, though, about the money. Where would the money come from to pay to be able to host America's Cup here, either for the prep costs for hosting it or for any of the events alongside of it?
Sure. The overall costs of the event run into hundreds of millions of dollars. Just to have a boat in the racing series is going to cost somewhere $50 million or more for the owners of that boat and their sponsors. So, you know, depending on how many different countries decide to compete, I think it'll be between about 5 and 10. You know, you're talking about private funding for the boats alone, somewhere north of $500 million. Locally, we will need to invest a certain amount of money in order to be able to help support the event, but it also in terms of providing donated services to help it and giving them free space on the piers and some of the other areas.
Sure. Do you have a ballpark of how much the San Diego would need to put into it to host it?
Right. Well, I can speak for the water side. I can't really speak for the land side because that's in the jurisdiction of the city of San Diego. The port's an independent state district that we make our evaluations based on our land. But right now we're looking at an estimate of a net short-term investment of you know, something maybe around $1 million. It could get more. But we have to realize that over the long term, the return to us, we have 16 hotels on the port tidelands with 8,000 hotel rooms, and we receive our rents based on the occupancy of those rooms. So the more that people want to come to stay in San Diego in the future because of watching these races, the more revenue flows back so that we can pay for the harbor police and things like that.
It leads me to the you know, obvious question. Is there an estimated benefit where we're in the running, we're tossing our names in the hat for that? Can we say to San Diego, hey, you're going to make $300 million on this or $500 million on this?
Well, first of all, the answer is no. It's always hard to estimate what the total return is. You know, people book hotels through a number of online booking agencies and stuff, so it's the old days of, you know, just calling all the travel agencies won't work. And also, you know, there's a certain very tangible but hard to measure value, as I've said, of people saying, wow, that looks like fun, I'm going to go to San Diego, and also having the entourages of some of the richest people in the world coming here to bring their boats. You have to remember that if it wasn't for Dr. Jacobs deciding to come for an interview at UCSD, we wouldn't have Qualcomm today.
We wouldn't have. Let's talk about the flip side of that, though. The San Francisco Chronicle reported after they hosted America's Cup last year a loss of $11.5 million. About $5.5 million of that dollars came from taxpayer money. How much at risk is San Diego of losing that amount of money?
None.
And how come?
First of all, myself and my colleagues on the Board of Port Commissioners have our eyes very wide open. Being enthusiastic about making a deal doesn't mean that you're dumb. And, you know, well, we obviously have learned lessons not only from San Francisco, but also from our own experience hosting the America's Cup World Series AC-45 boats in 2011. So we're looking very, very hard at things. We're skeptics, but not cynics, you know, and we'll continue to, as long as we remain in the hunt, and we're down to 4 cities in the world, as long as we remain in the hunt, we'll continue to refine our estimates and then the city has to make their own judgments.
And very quickly, can you tell us what the 4 cities are and when we will know who gets America's Cup in 2017?
There's been no official announcement from the America's Cup Authority, but as near as I can tell, the 3 of the 4 are us, Rhode Island, which has been the host also, along with San Diego, of a number of America's Cup events, and Chicago. So the other city, different rumors, different places. I've heard Boston, I've heard Baltimore.
Okay, and when will we hear, do you know?
No, I can't say precisely. That's going to be up to the America's Cup, and when we know, you'll know.
Okay, all right. Bob Nelson, thank you very much.
Thank you.